All right, what is up, everybody? Welcome back to the Casual Corner. I know I took a quite a long break, but I had to get some stuff situated. You know, real life got in the way, so I had to take care of that. But what I'm doing today is finally doing my review of Tekken 8. Now, I didn't do it right when the game first came out because I wanted to get a fair perspective of the game. You know, I don't want to jump into a review of a game and I'll only played the game for maybe a week. And of course, you know, being a fighting game, it's not an RPG, anything's a fighting game, but still, you want to give the game some time to marinate. You know what I'm saying? So I gave it a bit of time to, you know, go into all the modes, finish the story mode, get situated with the game mechanics, you know, learn a couple of my characters and all that stuff. Like right now, I play rank mode for a little bit, and I got my main character, which is Fing. He's a mighty ruler, 8 purple ranks. I think I'm gonna leave that alone for there. Like with rank mode, I'm gonna stay right there. I'm not really competitive like that. I am aware of the FGC, and I somewhat do follow to an extent, but I'm more of a casual than anything. I just play games. I play these fighting games for fun, strictly for fun. I don't do all that other stuff. But yeah. With that being said, this review, I'm just get this out the way. My overall feelings of the game is I like it. Everything that they've done with the game itself, you know, putting in mechanics to make the game easier or more open to newcomers, right? Like the heat mode mechanic. They tied I see what they did. They tied the heat mode to certain moves that you use a lot to keep, you know, each character, you know, engaged. Fast. It enables quicker matches instead of getting away from all the super defensive turtling strategy gameplay. If you play fighting games, you know what I'm talking about. You know, people who just like to run from their opponents and stuff. And I guess the more toxic game play styles in fighting games, turtling being one of them. Kind of like I would say that if you play FPS titles, that would be considered like camping. Turtling in fighting games is basically what camping is in FPS titles. So they're trying to, you know, cut that out, and by attaching the heat mode mechanic or heat rush mechanic, whatever it's called, to certain moves that you use a lot with certain characters, it keeps you and your opponent engaged, allowing people to stay up in each other's faces. You know, they're trying to find ways to get over the toxic gameplay strats that, you know, these communities use in these games, and I guess that's just one of their ways of trying to fix that. You know, I'm not a developer or anything. I think it's okay to try out. And of course, with stuff being new like that, trying out new mechanics, it's gonna have its ups and downs. Like I would say if you've been playing Tekken 8, there's some characters whose heat drive or heat gauge moves or whatever can be pretty annoying to deal with. I would say King, for example, his is super fast, and if it hits you on hit, it does that power bomb, and it does a lot of damage. Pretty much will destroy you, and it leaves you in a very disadvantaged position. But if you on block, it puts you super negative and opens you up to another 50-50 type scenario where you could either get grabbed, launched, or it's just bad situation. But I mean, these are things that they'll have to iron out over time. And that's just not with King. That's a lot of characters. You know, that's where all the balancing stuff comes in. So they'll get that ironed out. But other than that, my main concerns, like I said, I like the heat mode stuff. That's cool. But there are some gripes I do have about the game. And like I said, since I'm a casual, I'm gonna be leaning towards more like the story. I think the story could have been a little bit better, more thought out, um, and delve deeper into the story. The character episodes, uh, they definitely kind of missed the mark with some of them. They could have used like, for example, well, let's just start right here. The story of Tekken, like, and if you ain't played Tekken 8, um, I would say right now there's gonna be spoilers. So if you ain't played it, just go ahead and leave this and go and play the game. That's if you feel like playing it. If not, then you can stick around. But like I said, I don't want to spoil anything for nobody, so this is your warning right here. But the story starts off pretty decent, you know. It takes place right after 7. If you play 7, you know they had their plan to stop Kazuya. Um, Jin rolls up on Kazuya while he's in a helicopter. He rides the motorcycle up the building. It's pretty cool, pretty entertaining scene to watch. It's a very big battle, very flamboyant, all over the place. You know, he ends up activating his devil powers. He goes Devil Jin mode against Kaz. He's actually, and Kaz is getting his ass beat. You could tell that he's letting him do it. And then that's when Kaz goes activates his devil mode, and he just wipes the floor with Devil Jin or Jin, whatever. And then Jin loses the ability to activate his devil powers, and then that's when they have to call out the fight. He has to retreat. Kaz announces pretty much the King of Iron Fist Tournament 8. But here's at this point, this is where it gets kind of dumb for me. I don't know, maybe when it comes to Tekken, I think they're like afraid to make people like bad guys. I wouldn't say I'm not. I don't know what they were doing with Kaz. Like they made when he announced the what I say here. I'm gonna get my words tangled, but he announced that the King of Iron Fist Tournament 8, but he also says that each country has to have a representative, and whoever that their rep, if their rep loses, that their preceding country that they're repping is gonna get wiped out or something like that. Don't understand why they did that. Because at the end of the day, Kaz isn't really a bad guy. Yeah, I know that he does have the devil gene, and he's trying. He did some bad things, but if you recall, the only reason why Kaz did anything that he did was to beat Heihachi. He wanted more power to beat Heihachi. That was it. And if you've been following the story from the first Tekken all the way up to now, yeah, you pretty much know his whole drive was to deal with Heihachi. Heihachi was a bastard. I don't know what Tekken 7 was thinking, trying to make him look like a good guy. You know, had him crying them crocodile tears because he had to kill Kazumi because, you know, she attacked him. She had the devil gene too. That's where it all started, somewhat with her. But yeah, but even though that happened and showed a softer side to him, you got to remember in Tekken 5, I think it was Tekken 5 or 4, Heihachi killed his father. He didn't kill his father because he had Devil Gene. He killed his father because he wanted to take over the Mishima Zaibatsu. Jinpachi is his name, and he chained them up under the Mishima estate and left them there to starve to death, which is why in Tekken 5 he became a boss character. So yeah, that's how that turned out to be. But yeah, Heihachi's not a good dude, and no matter what Tekken 7 tried to do, it didn't win me over with that. But yeah, so back to Kaz. That's his whole motivation, was to get rid of Heihachi. Now that Heihachi's out the way, he's pretty much just chilling, right? So I don't know why they made him try to be like some dictator M. Bison type shit. Like, but yeah, they went that route, and I guess Jin goes on this soul searching journey throughout the story mode to get his devil powers back, and you know, become a better person. I don't know. Soul searching journeys and all that stuff. Kind of like remind me of Bleach a little bit. How Ichigo was trying to deal with his the Vasta Lorde stuff and all that shit. But that happened. Um, some other stuff happened, but let's skip past everything. We get to the tournament, and Reina pops up, and I think they tried to get a little. They're going a little, trying way too hard with her with the mysterious Mishima vibe thing. Like it's pretty clear that she was trying to hint to them that she was related to them, but trying to be mysterious at the same time. I don't know what they was doing with that, but that came off weird and dumb. And like she was holding back her power. I'm like, how strong? I don't know how strong she is. Is she really strong or is she not strong? Because during the tournament, she made she forced Jin to use his devil powers again. She like forced it out of him. So it's like, how strong is she? And then she's able to tank attacks from Devil Kaz and cause damage to. I don't know how they did that. And that's another thing too. Reina's character, gameplay wise, she's cool, but her story, it seems weird. I don't. Maybe they'll clarify it later because apparently it seems like she wants to get the Devil Gene, or she already has it. Like in her character episode, she gets it, but there's some plot holes with that, being that she's not related to the clan, like Kazumi's clan, unless her I would say there's two things with that regarding that. Either she was made in a lab like Steve was, and they used the genes of, I guess, Kazuya or Jin, I guess, and something, I don't know, test tube baby stuff, but they made her and gave her the devil gene, I guess, and that would explain why she's able to do that. But at the same time, just due to the fact that she is like trying to avenge Hihachi, and Hihachi wants nothing to do with the devil gene, it seems like her having the devil gene would betray that ideology that Hihachi has, being that he wants to beat the devil gene without having to use its power. That was his whole thing. He beat the devil gene without using it, right? He didn't want to do like Kaz, the opposite, And then keep in mind, Hihachi did beat Kaz a couple of times with, Kaz had tried to fight him, which is why Kaz wanted to get more power, because he, even with the devil gene, he still was getting beat by Hihachi. They went back and forth with that, throwing each other off cliffs and all that. But yeah, the whole Reina thing, maybe they'll clarify that in the future. We'll see how that goes. But overall, I still like the character though. It's just her story is kind of whack. But yeah, when we get to the war scene or whatever, it's the Tekken Force mode part. It's cool seeing all those characters there, but when it comes to lore, some of those characters should not have been there, like at all. For instance, what does King have to gain from participating in a war? I mean, like some of their motivations, like it's cool to have them all there, but like some of these characters' motivations have nothing to don't align at all with what the Jin, like for instance, the only people that I would put like this, in these fighting games, you have characters that are, you have good guy characters, evil characters. Within those two sides, you have the evil dictator character, the evil army characters, whatever, like M Bison, or Shang Tsung or the Shao Kahn type dudes, them guys, and then you have the people who are, they're evil or good, but they're strictly there to prove themselves. Like in that category, that would be like Feng Wei. I would say he lines with evil. He does a lot of bad guy stuff. It seems like they're trying to not make him bad guy no more. He just, he's still a bad guy. To me, he's a bad guy. I know his story. he's a bad guy, but he's not there to help out the bad guys. He's there to prove that he's stronger than everybody. Kind of like Brian Fury. That's another one too. He's not. He's just there to fight people. He's a bad guy, but he just wants to beat up people, right? So, yeah, he's not some part of the whole Kaz or Hihachi army or whatever bad guys. He's just doing his own thing, but he still aligns with the bad guys. And then you have the funny people, like so, the joke characters, and they could be good or bad too. But you know, the point I'm saying is they all have their own goals, and some of their goals intertwine, others do not. So, like that Tekken Force mode when they're fighting the army, it should have only been like Victor. Victor could have been there. Raven, you know, they got that going. They're involved with that sort of thing. Who else is it? Oh, Lars. You know, Lars is there. Of course, Jen, Alyssa, and pretty much that's it. You know, and that would have been the good guy side, right? So, and of course, the bad guys, Dragunov would have been on the bad side. Hired mercenary. He has his own army, and I guess Kaz would have hired him to help run his stuff. Of course, there's Nina. She's always been hired on as a part of Zaibatsu. She's an enforcer type character, you know, of evil. You know, that the point I'm saying is, you know, some characters should have been. It's good to have that spectacle, have all those characters there, but they didn't all need to be there because the story mode's for the main story. Now, these other characters, they have storylines too. They just don't. They're not part of the main story, and that goes into the character episodes, right? So, instead of making these character episodes like stupid joke stuff, like for instance, Steve, I haven't did them all, but Steve's character episode, you know, Law and Paul go looking for him. They see in his little gym or whatever, he has all his trophies from middleweight all the way up to, I guess, super heavyweight, and I guess super heavyweight one is missing. And then they hear like big ass sounds coming from the gym room or whatever. They walk in and they see Steve punching the punching bag, but this dude, they gave him the Abigail treatment. This dude's huge as hell, and he looks stupid as he looks really stupid. So I was like, what were they thinking when they did it? Now, keep in mind, Steve has a good side story too, and if they actually put time into these character episodes to further the characters, you know, developing their own personal stories, that would have been good too. Instead of making everybody a joke, the character episodes could have specifically been done for that because, like I said, everybody has their own story. It just may not be the main stuff. Not everybody is a part of that main stuff. Like for instance, like I said, King. It's nice of him to join in with that, but he has nothing to do with that. The Mishima stuff at all. Like in fact, if you recall, King's story ties in with Marduk and Armor King. Now, if you recall, when Marduk came, I think between Tekken 5 and 6, at some point after he showed up, he ended up getting into a scrap with Armor King. I forget if it was at a bar or in the ring, but either way, at the end of their fight, Armor King ended up dying, and this is from either injuries. Either he died during the fight or from injuries from that fight, deal with Marduk, and that's when him and King, they had that little beef going, and at some point, after some time passed, like in Tekken 6, they ended up burying the hatchet, and they were cool. They were friends. Not sure how that works, but how they did that. But either way, they became friends. But if you played Tekken 6 and did his ending, you will know that Marduk had gotten attacked by Armor King sometime after that. So Marduk was afraid. He went to go find out if Armor King was actually dead or if he came back from the grave. He goes to the cemetery, digs up Armor King's grave, sees that his body's still there. Then King shows up and then wonders what he's doing. And Marduk's like, look, he's dead. Who is that other guy? He's an imposter. And then Armor King shows up, the one that attacked him. and he points at Marduk. You know, he wants revenge or whatever. Come to find out, this new Armor King is the younger brother of the original Armor King that Marduk killed. So I thought that was cool. Unfortunately, they never went back into that. Haven't heard anything about that or whatever. Not sure if they're gonna continue that, but that's like one of the interesting side stories that they could go. And let's see, another one that would be cool. Actually, I think the most interesting one, like there's several of them like that, like Fing and Asuka's deal. Asuka's trying to get revenge for, I think, her grandfather that Fing attacked. Um, like I said, Fing's a bad guy, and to prove that he was strong and stuff, he went around attacking everybody, fighting everybody like old grandmasters and stuff, and or whatever. You know, he did that whole thing. Like the if you checked out the Ip Man movie, on the beginning of the first one, you know that one Northerner dude that was going around fighting off all the grandmasters and beating them up. Pretty much the same thing as that. But Oscar wants to avenge her granddad, or her dad or granddad. I think it's a granddad. For what he did to him. And that's another thing too. Oscar's character episodes like that too. Instead of focusing on that, she's up there still beefing with Lily. And even though I know that they got that rivalry going on, Lily can be that character that she's just doing silly stuff, whatever. But Oscar actually has something going on, and they could actually delve into developing her character more by having her try to get stronger to defeat Fing. Like I don't think it'll never happen, but it'll be nice for her to have a goal like that. I mean, give her more depth instead of just being the silly girl that's beefing with someone that's like beefing with a little kid, Lily. So yeah. But the main one, the other one I wanted to go into that has a lot of promise would be the Steve, and not just Steve, but Leo. We know Leo. Her whole deal was that she's trying to figure out who killed her mom, right? I think her name Anna Clyson. She was a scientist or whatever that worked with the Mishima Zaibatsu. That ended up working for G Corps when Kaz went there, but and that's when she was killed. But yeah, Leo's supposed to be figuring out who. Like Leo knows that Kaz put out the hit to have her mom assassinated, but she wants to find out who actually pulled the trigger, right? So, with that being said, the Steve connection comes in is that Steve, if you played, I think it was Tekken 5 when Steve came in, but in his backstory, we know that Steve happened to be a test subject that was developed, I think, during the Mishima Zaibatsu, when Anna was part of working with their science team. They were trying to develop super soldiers, I think. Forgive me if I'm wrong, but I think that's what it is. I have to check up later, but yeah. So Steve came. I guess Steve was one of the last surviving test subjects, and you know he kept referencing the scar on his arm and all that. You see in one of his endings, he goes back to the one of the labs. He punches one of the test tubes and breaks some, and then blows up the lab itself and he's walking away. So yeah, we find out that Leo's mother raised Steve during that time. So that's where that connection comes in. So it would have been cool if they had Leo at some point run into Steve, right? And I guess I don't know how they would run into each other, but or maybe Leo finds that picture and wants to find Steve to see if he has any information on her mom. And then that's when Steve finds out she's dead too. Then they team up to go, solve this murder mystery, right? And also to add on top of that, we know that during that time, Anna, even though Nina works with the Zaibatsu, Anna works for G. She does the opposite of Nina. They're rivals, the sister rivalry thing they have. Nina was working for G Corps with Kaz, so who's to say the writers couldn't just have the assassin that did it either be Nina or Anna? It'd be better if it was Anna, but still Steve is this is delving into the whole other connection that Steve has with Nina being his biological mother, right? So they want to find out. They find out that Anna did it, and Steve knows that Anna is Nina's sister, and that will also have them try to find Nina. Not only for Steve wanting to meet up and patch things up with his biological mother, but trying to, solve the murder mystery. You see where I'm going with this? So this is one of the things that they could work on too. They could have done that would have gave these characters more depth. Instead of just, oh, if you're not part of the Mishima main story, then you don't really have a story. And then there's that whole thing with, the Boskanovich side story that has with Brian, Yoshimitsu, Alyssa, Jack, all that stuff going on there. But yeah, I feel that's how they could have did that. That's one of my complaints with when it comes to lore and story modes and stuff of the game. But another issue I feel that they could have done better is the customization, and that's a big one. Especially if your first Tekken was Tekken Tag 2. If you're coming off that, you've noticed that steadily over these past 2 games, the customization quality has went down the drain. Like Tag 2, the options you had from having certain item moves that changed attack properties, and also, like, for instance, example of that would be like Haorong's metal spike boots and Law's dragon scar and Jin's devil eyes. They changed certain your throw properties. If you killed won a match using the throw that those item moves are connected to, it would change the animation of the attack. And I thought that was something neat. Also, there were certain items that altered that would give you certain moves. Like, I think one funny one I liked was Bob. You give him, I think it was an air pump on his back. And what that did was it gave him a move that had him bounce on the ground a little bit. It was pretty cool. It didn't really, it did damage, but it was like slight damage, barely noticeable. But it was just fun stuff like that. But yeah, people keep calling me. But that customization also includes decals and stuff. You can make little, it's like stuff like that. From there to Tekken 7, that went away, but they should bring that back, right? So, not sure why they did that. Also, another idea that they had that they brought in Tekken 7, which they just dropped, I don't know why, was in 7, only King and Lars had it, but they had alternate outfits that changed the animation for the rage arts. And I thought that was an interesting idea. Don't know why they changed that or didn't go in more on that. Maybe with the addition of the Tekken shop, we might see something like that again. And side note with the Tekken shop, I don't like it too much, but I know that's the business model of stuff going forward. Microtransactions seem to be the future for multiplayer games. Well, shit, all games in general. Yeah, so unfortunately, that's never gonna go away. So yeah, that's just my thoughts on that. I don't like it, but it's not going anywhere. So unfortunately, we have to deal with it. But yeah. But there is a way to capitalize on that, is bringing in outfits, like actually good outfits from other characters from other games. I don't know, people see all these videos on YouTube of characters making costumes of other cosplaying as other characters from other fighting games or other media in general. Like, of course, a real popular one that everybody was doing is Leon Kennedy, Resident Evil 4 Leon Kennedy at that. In fact, my How Wrong, you can do it in character, but my How Wrong, like I have a couple of edits with him. Leon Kennedy, Violent Ken from Capcom, SNK versus Capcom Chaos, Violent Ken, that whole thing. I got him. Shit, a couple of other ones. I made Alyssa Battle Angel Alita. So I did that. Oh, and made also I made Nina as Ada Wong. So that's pretty cool. I made her that way, and the fact that she can use her guns makes it even better. But yeah, they could do stuff like that. Hopefully they go in on that a little bit more in the future. But time will tell, right? We'll see how that goes. But yeah, though, like I said, the my overall feelings for the game is good, but I just wish they would go more in depth, like try harder with the story and not make everything stupid. Like I said, that whole the Steve thing, I making him look like Abigail, the whole that stuff. Even though it's not canon, they still could have worked that stuff in, like the lore stuff, the further these characters on along their own story paths, right? Because like I said, just because they're not a part of the Mishima main story doesn't mean they don't have their own stories, and that would have been nice to see. But oh, and before I forget, I don't know what it is, but I don't know. Tekken's afraid of having making their roster. Like, I don't get it. Like, I just put it like this. I just have one gripe with that. Law. When I first saw the character trailer for Law, I was kind of, I guess I'm one of the few people that I'm disappointed because I really wanted to see Forest Law take up the mantle, right? Like, we got all these other young characters coming in, succeeding their mentors in these games. Like, for instance, How Wrong succeeded Bake. Um, Julia succeeded Michelle. Um, we got young characters like Lily coming in. Shit, even Kunimitsu's daughter succeeded her in 7. So I don't know why they won't let Forrest take over for Law. And that's nothing Law's story. They made him really, he's a dumbass for some reason. I don't know why they did him that way. Maybe they don't like Bruce Lee. I don't know, but a good way they could fix that is just basically replace Marshall with Forrest. How would they do that? Well, here's a example. We know that Marshall's story is he's trying to run his restaurant, right, and also trying to get his dojo going. He wants to have a dojo for teaching his martial arts, right, and also he wants to have the restaurant. Of course, it seems he's been having a lot of trouble because he can't do both at the same time, which is why he, in one of the games, I think it was 6, he was going around, or was it 5? He was going around trying to find people to run his dojo for him while he focused on his restaurant, which is why he was seeking out Fing. He wanted Fing to run his dojo, but that didn't work out too well. So what they could possibly do is, instead of doing it that way, they write Forrest in as a strong, capable fighter. Like, Marshall trained Forrest up. He's actually very strong in fight. He could be strong. They could make him be stronger than Marshall, right? And while he's doing that, Marshall can retire from fighting and run his restaurant. And then he makes it so that, he's like, Forrest, you just got one last test to take. Join the King of Iron Fist tournament. Prove yourself. And then once you do that, you can come back and take over the dojo, and boom. And that would be a simple fix. The saving or salvaging the whole Law legacy right there. And the reason I've been wanting Law Forrest to take over is in Tag 2, when he was available in that game, I liked his move kit better than Marshall's. It was he was arrogant. He had a more cocky flavor to his moves, and it seemed more fresh and flamboyant than Marshall's. It was more entertaining, and I liked his taunts and his moves, and I liked the way he did stuff. It was more fun. It was easier on the eyes, you could say, right? So and then, like I said, we have all these other younger fighters. Instead of having the old guys around, we can have younger, fresher faces on the screen. I mean, shit, Street Fighter's doing it, and I guess Mortal Kombat is too, by rebooting their timeline. But Mortal Kombat, I don't know what's going on with them. But Street Fighter, they got these younger people coming in replacing the old guys. So Tekken can do that too. They partially done it, so no reason to not let. It's not like you're losing Law, the play style, right? You're still gonna have Law, the Bruce Lee character. It'll just be Forrest and not Marshall, right? And it'll also make it'll save Law from becoming a joke character too. You could even possibly save Paul's character as well, because while Forrest is while when Marshall's not around, Forrest is always being accompanied by Paul anyways. So Marshall could have Paul watch out for Forrest during the tournament thing too, and that could be like his character in battle as well. When he fights the final, his boss, a rival character, it could be Paul. He could be the dude at the end of the line, his final test to see if he's ready. If he beat Paul, boom, there you go. So there you go. That's how they could salvage that. But at the end of the day, that's my overall feelings about Tekken 8. I like the game. Eddie Gordo's gonna be coming out here soon. Can't wait to play with him, and want to see what else they got down the line, because like I said, the only character I'm really waiting for Bob. I'm wanting to see how they do him. I hope he's not fat anymore, but I think they will make him fat still. But I hope they don't. I actually like Slim Bob too, only because when it comes to like martial artist characters, one of my top martial artists in real life is Scott Adkins, and Bob is like the closest adaptation of that we have to him. Yuri Boyka, the Undisputed movie franchise. He be doing the flips and shit, the cool kicks. So to have Bob, he's like the closest dude to that in the game. That's why I like him so much, because he kind of does all that stuff too. But hopefully, we'll see how that goes. Either way, I'm gonna play him regardless. I love Tekken to death. So, but yeah. Oh, I forgot to touch on this. The reason I think why they probably didn't do so well with that, because they focused on all their time on that FGC story mode thing. And to be honest with you, even though I played it, I haven't finished it. It was fun at first, but it lost its spectacle. Like after a while, I got bored with it, mainly because, like I said, I'm a casual. I don't care too much for that stuff, and I feel like if you wanted to be part of the FGC, you wouldn't play a story mode in the game. You'll actually join a Discord and go to your actual local tournaments and do stuff like that. So, to be honest, I think that was kind of a waste. Like, on paper, it sounded good, but, if you really wanted to be part of FGC, you'll actually go and do FGC stuff, not play pretend in the game, a story mode in a video game, right? But, I mean, that's just my opinion. But other than that, that's all I had on that. I'm gonna try to make more of these in the future. Since my schedules get turning around, I'm gonna have more time to do this. I'm trying to try to do this like every Saturday, maybe Sunday, but we'll see how that goes. I'll catch you guys next weekend, but until then, I think I must end it here, my peoples. I'll be seeing y'all soon, and peace out.